Hello, YouTube. Once again, it's me, John Avenger, and welcome back to Question Mark Month, where every movie review I'm doing will be completely random, so you won't see it coming. Now, this is a terrible freaking movie from 1993 that was supposed to come out in like 1991, and that is Robocop 3. Yeah, one of the worst sequels I've ever seen. Fuck this movie. Seriously, fuck this movie. This is a movie that came out in 1993 when I was 9. Well, I was 8. By the time I saw it on VHS, I was 9. This was directed by Fred Decker. This is the same guy that did Night of the Creeps in the 80s, and he did, I think, The Monster Squad. Both movies that flopped, which are very underrated. Watch those instead of this. And this was written by Decker and Frank Miller. The same cuckoo bananas freaking Frank Miller that did The Spirit, which I'm never reviewing because I tried to review it in the past and I got a community guideline strike. So I'm not going to that well again. And this time, there's many mistakes this movie made. Besides the fact that it's a third movie that in a trilogy that usually doesn't end well because we've been through this before. But anyway, strike number one. It went from an R rating in the first two to a PG-13. This is why the remake didn't work because you pussified a character that's R rated, who's really violent, who shoots people in the head or in their balls or on the chest, and you reduce it to him shooting people's hands. Even Terminator didn't do that until the fourth movie. It ruins a movie when you go from an R to a PG-13. The only reason Live Free or Die Hard was PG-13 was because of the studio, which doesn't exist anymore because Fox is no longer an independent studio. It belongs to Disney now. Strike number two, you don't have Peter Weller come back. Yeah, he was busy doing Naked Lunch in the early 90s, so the studio didn't want to wait for him, so they got Robert John Burke. Yeah, he did nothing for me as RoboCop. They give him one-liners like he's freaking, a superhero. He's like toned down. You can tell that it's not Peter Weller when he takes the mask off, when they're like recharging him. He's awful in the movie. He's just not my RoboCop. Number three, you kill off Nancy Allen in the first like 30 or 40 minutes into the movie. We loved her in the first two films. Why the hell did you kill her off? Nancy Allen, I know, agreed to do this movie just to kill off her character because you know how shitty the script was. But they did the same thing in Force Awakens, guys. And in Independence Day Resurgence, off screen. And in freaking the fifth Transformers movie. And in the last Terminator movie that came out last year. Why bring back a character just to kill them off? They also did that in the Bourne Supremacy. But again, that was bad writing that did that. Don't bring back a character if you're gonna kill them off. I'd rather they either make a cameo or not be in the movie because killing them off just seemed mean spirited. Rip Torn, maybe he rest in peace. I miss him. He was a lousy freaking like side villain in OCP. And this is the plot of this god awful movie. Set in the near future in a dystopian metropolitan Detroit, Michigan, the plot centers around RoboCop as he vows to avenge the death of his partner Ann Lewis, which should have never happened, and save Detroit from falling into chaos when evil conglomerate OCP run by its villainous CEO, Rip Torn, because the old man is nowhere to be found here, advances his tyrannical program to have the city default on its debts. It was filmed in Atlanta, Georgia, because it's cheap. I'm sorry you had to witness this, Levy, if you were around at that time. Most of the buildings seen in the film were slated for demolition to make way for facilities for the 1996 Summer Olympics that were held in the city. Again, a better event than this freaking movie. This movie cost $22 million, dollars, and it made 10. Huge bomb. One of the worst of the year. Horrible movie, and it came out in November. So, yeah, I saw it in 1994 because it came out on VHS in 94, and I saw it and I hated it. Even as a kid, I thought it sucked. It was so watered down and so useless and such a far cry from the first two films that I'm like, I saw the second movie in the theater this year, a few months ago, when the theaters were open before this god awful virus was taking over the world. And I still like it. It's flawed, but it's better than this freaking movie. And this movie's 104 minutes. Why is this one longer than the original? I don't know. Because there's a lot of filler in it. There are good actors in the movie, they just don't have much to do. The film was a critical and commercial failure, I know, making it the least profitable film until the remake came out. You also have whatchamacallit, Mako, may he rest in peace as well. You have John Castle, who is one of the worst villains I've seen in a movie. Not just because he's British. Don't say that I'm a racist. This guy looks like an evil Steve Martin. Yeah, he's a British evil Steve Martin. He has gray hair. He has a big nose. He doesn't sound like Steve Martin, but he looks like him, and it's just very distracting. You also have Jill Hennessy. She's a good actress. She's a Dr. Marie Lazarus. Yeah, because beating the religious symbolism from the first two movies wasn't enough. And you have Bradley Whitford in the movie. You have CCH Pounder, who's one of like those resistance fighters. Bertha, who dies because she's black, so they have to kill off someone black because movies are not they're not racially insensitive now. Nowadays. You also have Stephen Roots, the guy from The Office, from Office Space, that with the glasses that talks like this. He's a good actor. Jeff Garland's in the movie too, and he's in a cameo. I think he's in the bar scene. But the movie's so toned down. RoboCop doesn't kill anybody in this movie. It's very toned down. There's the blood's gone. The squibs are gone. The freaking Ed 209 gets deprogrammed by a little girl with her little computer, and she's like a 9-year-old girl or something like that. What's her name? She's awful in the movie. She's a little girl, but she did nothing for me. What was her name? Uh, I can't find her here. Nancy Allen, Remy Ryan. Yeah, Remy Ryan is her name, but she changed her name, and she's awful. Like I don't know what the hell they were thinking casting a little girl in a RoboCop movie. Her last film was in 2012, but she's awful in the movie. Like she programs it to be loyal as a puppy, and I'm like, yeah, loyal as a puppy, really? This is the same thing that killed a guy in OCP, blasted him to bits, and in the second movie he was damaged, so they couldn't bring him back. So this movie he's loyal as a puppy. Yeah, this video is not for kids, so I don't care. Um, yeah, the film it should have never been made. It was panned by critics. Of course, it was. You took a movie where in the first movie your lead dies and gets blown to hell, and the second movie he also gets ripped apart, like cut in half from these guys from Kane, and then in this one he's a joke. His entrance was pretty cool. I'll say there's cool things in the movie. RoboCop's entrance when he breaks out of the freaking top of the car. That was cool. And the scene where he's flying in the jetpack. That's all. That's the only cool things in the movie. Everything else is god awful. And look at what said over. Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes was too freaking kind on this. This asinine sequel should be placed under arrest. Yeah. Again, you should have said it was shit because that's an easier way of saying it. And they said another one. Washington Post says the movie is hardly riveting and often it's downright silly. Yeah, it's a cartoon. This is the Batman and Robin of the RoboCop franchise. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star out of 1.5 stars, disputing the character's longevity. But why did they persist in making these retreads? Because RoboCop is a brand name. I guess this is the year's new model. It's an old tradition in Detroit to take an old design and slap on some fresh chrome. But it didn't work. It did not work. And the absence of Peter Weller really hurt the film. The PG-13 hurt it. Killing off Nancy Allen in the first like half of the movie. Having a little girl be a main character. Having a lame-ass villain played by a British Steve Martin. Underusing the actors from the first movie. You also have Eva LaRue Callahan as Debbie Dix. I forgot who she was in the movie. I remember the hookers in the second movie. I don't remember who she was in the film. And the other ones are archive footage from the first one. Ray Wise, Jesse D. Goins, and Calvin Jung. Yeah, it's just Kurtwood Smith is also in it. And like I said, it's just a downgrade from the first two. Avoid this if at all costs. This and the remake are not worth your time. This is a shit movie. It was shit when it first came out in 1993. It sucks today to this day. See, often points of criticism in the movie include curdling the graphic violence of the first two, less dark humor, and the absence of Peter Weller. Yeah, and the satire here wasn't funny either. There's literally a scene where a freaking dumbass, criminal, he points a gun at these people, and it's a freaking it's a diner full of cops. How stupid are you? How stupid are you? That's like going to the freaking UN building with a bomb in your mouth. Seriously. And I don't want to get too political because I'm like I said, I didn't vote yesterday because I didn't care. But yeah, this movie sucks, guys. If you have seen it, I feel your pain. Also, you have robotic ninjas. Robotic ninjas. Robocop fights freaking robotic ninjas. Oh my god, this it hurts, man. Freaking hurts. This is a '90s film you can skip. At least the last movie I reviewed was better than this freaking turd. It really is awful. It's like one of the worst sequels I've ever seen. Why the Nostalgia Critic did not put this in his worst top 11 worst sequels and he put Phantom Menace, this should be here. And Phantom Menace is not a sequel, it's a prequel. Doesn't count. This is worse because this killed a franchise. It didn't come back until the remake, and that was awful. I did like the TV series because while it was toned down, it was a Canadian take on the franchise. It was pretty decent. I saw one of the Prime Directive movies, but I'm not reviewing those because those are basically just direct to video stuff or TV movies. They're not theatrical releases. This was released in theaters and it sucked. Sonic was better than this. But anyway, that's my rant on RoboCop 3. Freaking trash can the movie. Easily one of the worst sequels that's ever been made in any American theaters. But thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I hope you don't see this movie. Don't stream it. Don't rent it online. Don't buy it on Netflix. I mean on Amazon or eBay. Just don't. Stay away from it. It sucks. That's all I can say. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.